And let's look at an amino acid again. So if we click here, we can look at the amino acid and I can review, okay, that's Clifford next. Sign in. Okay, so we're back to, we want to go to that. No, we want to go my classes. Let's go back to WebAssign right here. Click on Open Student View. And let's go back to the 2404 chemistry. So here's our amino acid. Again, here's the carboxyl group. This is oxygen, carbon, and this is oxygen. This is nitrogen of the amino group. The rest of the molecule is hydrocarbons. This is hydrogen, and this is carbon. So we go down to our little diagram here, and we look at this, and we can make it bigger or smaller. This is the amino group. That's nitrogen. This is the carboxyl group. This is carbon. Oxygen double bonded. Oxygen single bonded. This is a chemical bond. A little line between two atoms represents the single bond, a single covalent bond between two carbons. This is a single bond between hydrogen and nitrogen. As you're doing this in the practice tests, you just keep hitting new randomizations. And here's another example of how you deal with these pictures, these images. The the hydroxyl oxygen of the carboxyl group, that's right here. You click there because the carboxyl group has OH is here normally. This H is going over to the nitrogen at body pH. This is called the carbonyl group. This is called the hydroxyl group. So the hydroxyl oxygen is right there. You click there. The interaction of chemical establishes the foundation of physiology. True, atoms share electrons with ionic bonds. No, they lose or gain electrons with uh, ionic bonds. Water has a low heat capacity. No, it has a high heat capacity. That's false. Water is a good solvent because it forms hydrogen bonds. That's also false. So we hit false again there. And catalysts reduce activation energy. We just said that's true. And enzymes are fats that slow down enzymes are proteins that uh, speed up chemical reactions, so that's false. So I go ahead and submit answer, and you immediately be given that you got the first one right. That's the answer right there, and there's all the answers there that are correct. So once you get everything correct in homework, your job is to move on to the uh, my assignments and to go ahead and do the practice as many times as you like. I would do it many, many, many times. So the test on the 11th, 12th, and 13th will uh, have a test with one try of both of these. Okay? Make sure you get all of these right. If you need an extension, you take an extension. So this is the bread and butter. All of these assignments are for you to do, and that's what you'll be tested on. There may be some additional testing as we move on, but I'll let you know about that. So remember that you can extend an assignment and print it. You can request an extension, and uh, here's our amino acid again. Okay, let's go back to my assignments and let's look at a fatty acid. So if we go to biomolecules here and we look at this question, the polar portion of the molecule. Well, we already did that. Let's get a new randomization. New randomization. And uh, so let's look here. The hydrophilic group of the molecule. That's right here. This is the oxygens are very polar because of they have a high concentration of electrons when they share unequally. So again, this is carbon, carbon. This is a hydrocarbon chain. It's made up of hydrogen and carbon. This is the hydrophobic portion of a fatty acid. This is the hydrophilic portion, meaning that it's polar and it tends to interact with water and dissolve. This part of the molecule is very waxy or oily, and that's why it's called fatty acid. If we go down here and we look at this molecule again, you can go here and you can click on individual uh, representations of atoms, and you can know whether it's carbon or hydrogen or if it's oxygen. This is the hydroxyl group. The double bond is missing here. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Fats are composed primarily of hydrogen and carbon. True. Carbon dioxide is produced by cells. It's not stored in tissues. So let's give that one a false. Glycogen is also called animal starch. I said that. Yep, that's true. Glycogen is a polymer. It's composed of monomeric units of glucose. So that's false. Uh, Carbohydrates are the most important energy source for body metabolism. That's true. And glycogen is a polysaccharide. That's true because glycogen is made up of many units of glucose. So let's see how I did. If I didn't misread something, we submit. Okay, so that's the polar portion of the molecule, hydrophilic group of the molecule. And there we got all the answers. So your job is to keep doing randomizations and remember your previous answers will be right here. All your previous answers will be stored. You can see I've done this example many times. I didn't read carefully, but you can always do it again. So all your work will be stored.
Sir, I have a question.
Sure.
The questions that are below, are they worded the same on the test, or are they going to be slightly altered?
Worded exactly the same.
Okay.
But what's going to happen, you notice if we go to previous answers, you have all these different ones, right? You're going to get one snapshot of one set of questions. If you didn't do the practices multiple times, you're going to see stuff you haven't seen before. And if you haven't seen it, there's a good chance that you won't know about it. So repetition is the mother of all study. That's my philosophy. WebAssign is a superior program compared to Blackboard. And okay, so any more questions on these guys?
I
Okay,
have one more question.
go ahead. Sure.
About if you go to a different assignment, not that one, like the earlier one you were on,
Yes.
still in WebAssign,
Yep. Okay.
it has all of that information on the top of it.
Yes.
And it says these are facts. Like, are we supposed to? Is that supposed to help us, or what is that saying?
Okay, let's go look at that. Okay. So we go to chemistry here. Now, some of these things I haven't talked about. I talked about a glycolipid. I talked about carbohydrates. I talked about hydrocarbons. All of these I've talked about. So my guess is this is supposed to help you. This is all the stuff I just went through. The carboxyl group, the hydroxyl group, the amine group, oxygen. All of this is very important. I didn't take the time to type this out so that you go, oh, I don't need to know this. This is what I just talked about tonight. So it's muy importante. Other questions?
No, that's all. Thank you.
For the test itself, you said it was going to be the 11th, 12th, and 13th. Will we have a choice of those 3 days, or is it going to be just different days spread out that you have them available?
You can take it anytime within a 3-day period. Okay? I know that people have schedules and they work, they have kids. So within a 3-day period, you should be able to arrange a time to take the test. It's not timed. In the future, we may have a time test, but right now we're not. Questions? Let's stop the recording and we'll start again. Stop recording.